Hey, how's it going, everyone? I want to make a video on the symptoms of depersonalization. This video is more targeted for people who aren't sure what it is they're going through. However, if you do know it is depersonalization that you're dealing with, you might find some helpful insights here in this video. I'm going to start with the most common symptoms that are pretty much just within depersonalization. Now, I say that because, if you're looking up, trying to find out what it is that you're dealing with or going through, you're going to find a lot of your symptoms correlate with other mental disorders or even physical illnesses. So, anyhow, the first and most common symptom is feeling like you're looking through a pane of glass, or like the world seems a bit hazy to you. And that's usually in the most early stage of depersonalization. Eventually, that kind of subsides, and you're just kind of dealt with some other feelings that are hard to describe. But that's the most common symptom right off the bat. So another thing is feeling like your body parts are not your own, which I don't really like to put it that way. I'd rather say your body parts seem unfamiliar to you. The reason I put it like that is because when you're in that state of mind, rationally you know that it's your arm or whatever. It's just there's some kind of weird disconnection with it. Like I remember there'd be times I'd be holding my daughter and we'd be sitting there watching TV, and I would kind of just like catch my own arm out of the corner of my eye and look down at it and get a frightened feeling. And it was just because it seemed unfamiliar to me. I didn't. It's quite hard to describe, but you're rational enough to know that it's your arm. You don't think it's somebody else's arm or anything like that. It's just unfamiliar. Another thing is not recognizing yourself in the mirror. Once again, you look at yourself, you know it's you, but you don't have the same connection that you typically do. It's kind of a hard one to describe. Now, a big thing that is within depersonalization disorder is a loss of sense of self or identity. You feel like you don't have any clue who you are. You don't feel connected to yourself. In the early part of it, it's almost like you can think about parts of yourself. You can touch them, but it is not within you. You're not embodying it. And what comes along with that is a feeling of, you lost the part of yourself that helps you get through day-to-day life. And then another symptom that comes from that is feeling like you're on autopilot. You're just kind of going through the motions. Another big one is just feeling emotionally numb. And what causes that is your brain shuts down the part of your brain that deals with processing emotions, because you got to a point of so much stress and dealing with so much. It's a protection mechanism. It shuts down the emotional part of your brain. So don't stress too much. It's for your own good, and gradually emotions will come back to you as they should, and you can't force them. So that's something you got to remember. You just kind of got to let go, and that's what healing depersonalization is all about. It's just letting go, letting letting it work itself out. Here's another big one, is being just weirded out when you're talking. I mean, it's like, it just it feels really bizarre while you're talking. And the best I can tell what causes that is that self-awareness that everybody has, that watching self is hyper aware when you're depersonalized. So while you're talking, that watching self is so pronounced and noticeable that it's you're almost just watching yourself talk. And something I've realized since then is everybody does that. It's a normal thing. It's just when you're depersonalized, that watching self is too aware, it's too strong. And proof that everybody has that watching self, and it's always watching yourself, is like if you're talking to somebody and you slip up and use the wrong word, you're quick to correct that word because that watching self catches it. The only difference is with depersonalization, it's hyper aware, it's too pronounced. So that will subside and eventually go back to normal. Another thing that people experience is acting as if. And that's kind of a hard one to describe, but the best way I can put it into an example is while you're depersonalized, you can carry normal conversations with people, but it's almost like your mind is in another place. You're thinking about all kinds of other stuff. You're thinking about the shit you're saying while you're saying it, analyzing your mind's just overactive, and in a sense it trips you out that you can sit there and have conversations with people, and it's almost like your words are kind of just coming out of you. And then a few other major ones is pure OCD. If you're not aware of what that is, I wasn't at first, and I was definitely experiencing it. But basically, that is you have obsessions in the mind, but your compulsions are not like normal compulsions where you gotta knock on wood or something like that. The compulsions lie within the mind as well. So you might have like an intrusive thought, like feeling like you're going to jump out in front of a car, and then you'll start compulsively having thoughts of like, why would I have that thought? Would I really do that? What makes you have thoughts that are trying to undo or correct your intrusive thought. So the compulsion part of it is that it's the thoughts that come after the intrusive thought. And intrusive thoughts alone are, a symptom of depersonalization. Another common thing is existential thinking, philosophical thoughts, the meaning of life, religious thoughts, just, stuff in that area. My suggestion to you would be to, you feel like if you could figure this stuff out, then it would bring you peace. But in this state of mind, you can't get to the bottom of things. No answer is ever good enough because there's always more questions. So I'd suggest, at least for the time being, try to focus on simpler things that are more certain, that can ground you. Just go outside and you might be in fear of going outside, but just get out there and for as long as you can, and enjoy the weather or go to a park, whatever it is. And here's some physical symptoms. Dizziness, I experienced that mainly just in the beginning when my anxiety was really bad. Uh, Shaky hands, I had that. Especially after I'd drink some coffee, I would, go to use my phone, and I barely could. My thumb could barely, I could barely place it where I needed to. Loose stool. That that's something I dealt with, and when you have these physical symptoms, you're gonna start Googling them to try to figure out what it is, and the things that it could be are endless. I mean, there's all kinds of physical um, diseases, or the shit that you're gonna find these symptoms in. So if you're experiencing these main first ones I described, then don't worry about your physical symptoms being something like some disease or anything like that. Odds are it's depersonalization. And, don't start questioning whether the depersonalization is caused from a physical problem, because I did that as well. I mean, it's simply depersonalization. I'd bet on it. Another physical symptom is visual distortions. I experienced that, and my way of experiencing it was like I'd be reading articles on my phone, and it would seem like the page would jump for a second, and I wasn't sure if my phone was glitching out or what the hell was going on. So I went and grabbed a book, and I sat there and read the book for a while, and I noticed the page didn't jump, which I thought was weird. Because I thought if it's not my phone glitching out, it should do the same thing on the book. So then when it happened again on my phone, what I ended up realizing was, it was caused from anxiety, but I was looking for cures or solutions to my depersonalization, and I was so frantic while I was reading through articles and just reading so fast, and my anxiety, that it was a visual distortion that was making the page jump. And that's went away, so it was definitely, and my anxiety has decreased, so it definitely was from having intense anxiety. Some other things you might be experiencing is feeling like other people can tell what's going on with you. That may or may not be true, and to what extent, but odds are you're making it a lot worse. You're having catastrophic thinking, and the thing is if you go in a convenience store, who gives a shit if that person notices? Odds are they're not going to notice because they don't know you. You typically are more worried about people noticing that's like your family or loved ones, because they're the ones that are closest to you and most likely to realize minute differences. But even then, don't stress over it too much. I know in that state of mind, you think it's gonna be forever. You're gonna be feeling this way, and it's not. So just don't buy into it, because that increases it. It empowers it, makes it worse. You're probably experiencing a loss of motivation or drive, having a feeling like everything's pointless. I'm still dealing with that, so I really don't have much to say on that. I mean, all I can say is just don't do nothing. At least, pick something that you enjoy and just go do it because you enjoy it. Like for me, it's skateboarding. So I just get out there and I go skate whenever I have the time. and that's a pointless activity that I enjoy. You know, it's not gonna, I'm not gonna go pro. Uh, Nothing's gonna come from it besides enjoyment from doing it. So, another common symptom that I dealt with is confusion. That can present itself in a number of ways. And then, you know, you might be confused on what somebody says. You might think they mean something different, or, you know, something. And then when you realize what they actually meant, it creates anxiety. And then you have anxiety about having anxiety, and that's really what fuels the depersonalization. So that cycle. Forgetfulness, that's another one, and I definitely dealt with that. Like, I would come home and set my keys on the table or set them someplace, and you know, 30 seconds after I set them down, I'd think, oh shit, I forgot something in the car. And then it'd be like, oh shit, I don't know where I put my keys. You know, it was just 30 seconds ago I set them down. And then, you know, when I'd see them sitting on the table, it would heighten my anxiety for that instant, because it would be like, how the hell did, you know, because I'd realize I set them there, but it was just 30 seconds ago and I forgot. So it would frighten me. And that's just because your mind, how it is at that time. I mean, it will get better as your anxiety decreases. And I would suggest just keeping everything as simple as possible. You're probably having trouble sleeping. I would suggest taking melatonin just at first. I did maybe the first month that I was depersonalized, just to help me get to sleep. I didn't want to take any sleeping meds or anything like that, so I just went with melatonin, a natural sleeping aid, and obviously try to limit your caffeine. Don't drink anything after like 5 or 7 p.m. And just a forewarning is melatonin will probably make you have some pretty weird dreams at first, and depersonalization alone can make you have some, you know, really weird, vivid dreams. And if you have, you know, quit smoking weed because you became depersonalized and it increases your anxiety, quitting smoking weed can make you have really vivid dreams. And what that is it's called the rebound effect. It's actually completely natural, it's normal, and it will even itself out. But it's just a matter of, when you smoke weed daily, it suppresses that part of your sleep that deals with dreams. So when you quit smoking weed, it, you know, it rebounds. It comes back with a vengeance in a way, you know. And so at first your dreams are going to be really intense, and eventually they'll even out. It took about 6 months to where now my dreams are pretty normal. I mean, they don't trouble me. And yeah, that's pretty much all of them. If there's any I'm forgetting, or symptoms that you've experienced that I didn't mention, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And I hope this video, you know, helped you out or gave you some insight on depersonalization and what it is. And if you have any questions or anything like that, just feel free to, you know, leave a comment, or you can email me. I'll leave my email in the link. That's about it. I hope you guys get to feeling better.